Hey, you know how everyone's always talking about Africa's potential, right? Well, I've been really diving into this one aspect that just blows my mind, honestly. It's the youth population. Oh, yeah? What about it? I mean, I know it's a young continent, but what's the big deal specifically with the youth right now? Okay, so get this. By 2050, roughly a quarter of the world's population under 25 is expected to be African. A quarter. And by the end of the century, we're talking about Africa's population potentially reaching over 4 billion. The sheer scale, it's unprecedented, really. It means there's just so many young, vibrant people coming into their prime, you know? Wow, a quarter. That's huge. So when people talk about this demographic dividend thing, is that what they're getting at? Like a positive thing because there are so many young people? Exactly, that's precisely it. A demographic dividend is essentially the economic growth that can happen when a country has a really large proportion of its population in their working age. Less dependence, more producers, you know? It's like a huge window of opportunity, a potential boost to the economy if these young people are educated, healthy, and crucially employed. It's kind of like a superpower waiting to be fully unleashed, if that makes sense. Huh, a superpower. That's a cool way to put it. So it's not just about the numbers, it's about what you do with the numbers, right? Precisely, absolutely. That's the key. It's not a given, it's a potential. Okay, so if it's about what you do with the numbers, the first thing that springs to my mind, I guess, is education. You can't have a working age population that's productive without good education, can you? Is that where the focus is?
Totally. You're spot on, man. Education and skill development is absolutely foundational. The thing is, it's not just about getting kids into school. It's about the quality of that education, you know? We're talking about curriculum that's relevant for today's job market, for tomorrow's job market, really. More focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and also vocational training. Not everyone needs to go to university, right? Skilled trades are huge.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like practical skills. But is the system able to handle this massive influx of students? I mean, just thinking about resources, teachers, schools, it's a lot, isn't it?
It's a huge challenge, absolutely. There are disparities, between urban and rural areas, sometimes even within cities. Funding is a constant issue, and ensuring teachers are well trained, well resourced. But there are also incredible innovations happening, digital learning platforms, community led initiatives trying to bridge these gaps. It's a dynamic space, but yeah, quality and access, those are the biggies.
Right, quality and access. So, getting them educated, then what? What's next after they're skilled up? So, okay, they're educated, they've got skills. Now, the big one, I guess, is jobs, right? How do you create enough jobs for literally millions and millions of young people coming into the workforce every single year? That just seems like a gargantuan task. Oh, it is. It is a massive undertaking, absolutely. But here's where African ingenuity really shines, I think. Entrepreneurship is just exploding, you know? We're seeing young people not just looking for jobs, but creating them. Think about all the tech hubs popping up in places like Lagos, Nairobi, Kigali. They're developing solutions for local problems, but also scaling globally, like apps and stuff, or more than that. Way more than just apps. I mean, that too, but also innovations in agriculture, agri-tech, you know, improving yields, processing. Renewable energy is a huge one, the green economy. And even creative industries, fashion, music, film. These sectors are employing so many young people, and they're expanding rapidly. Governments are trying to foster this too, with startup funds, incubators, trying to, make it easier to start a business. That's pretty cool. So it's not just waiting for like big companies to come in and employ everyone. It's more of an internal, organic growth thing. Exactly. It's a blend, but the organic part, the entrepreneurship, that's really critical. And it gives young people agency. They're building their own futures. Okay, so education, jobs, that makes a lot of sense. But, like, what else? Is there anything else that's super important for this whole demographic dividend thing to actually, work out well? Oh, absolutely. Two huge pieces that often get like less headline attention, but are just as fundamental: health and governance. You can't have a productive workforce if they're not healthy, right? Things like access to basic health care, maternal and child health, combating diseases like malaria, HIV/AIDS, that's crucial. Healthy kids stay in school, healthy adults work productively, simple as that. Yeah, that's a really good point. You can have all the education in the world, but if you're sick, it doesn't matter much. And governance, you mentioned that too. What specifically are we talking about there? Well, think about it. For businesses to thrive, for young people to like feel secure in their future, you need stability. So, good governance means, rule of law, transparency, accountability, fighting corruption, peaceful transitions of power. When you have that, investment comes in, both local and foreign. People feel safe to innovate, to build. Without it, it's really hard for anything else to take root? It's like the soil. You need fertile soil for the seeds to grow. Right, the environment. So it's all interconnected, isn't it? Like, you can't just fix one thing in isolation. Totally interconnected. It's a holistic approach, honestly. All these pieces have to, kind of work together. So, we've talked a lot about the dividend part, the potential, which is like really exciting. But the title also has or challenge. What happens if, all these things you're talking about, education, jobs, health, good governance, if they don't quite happen as they should? What's the downside? Like the real challenge? That's the critical question, honestly. And it's what keeps many policymakers up at night. If these investments aren't made, if the jobs aren't created, what you end up with is a massive population of unemployed or underemployed young people. And that can lead to some really serious problems. Social unrest, increased crime rates, political instability, large-scale irregular migration. It puts an immense strain on resources, on social services. So it's like the opposite of a dividend. Instead of a boost, it becomes a drain? Exactly, precisely. It can become a major source of instability, both within countries and regionally. The potential for a youth bulge to turn into a significant challenge is very real if the right opportunities aren't provided. It's why this isn't just a discussion about potential, it's about urgent action. The decisions made today, like over the next decade or two, will absolutely define Africa's trajectory for the rest of the century? Wow, that's a heavy thought. So it's not just about a nice to have, it's an absolutely essential thing to get right. Absolutely essential. The stakes are incredibly high. So it sounds like there's this massive opportunity, but also like a really serious risk if things don't go according to plan. What makes you like hopeful? Are there actual concrete things happening that make you think Africa can actually pull this off? that it can truly realize that dividend.
Yeah, absolutely. I am hopeful, definitely. Because, we're seeing incredible leadership and innovation from within Africa. It's not just external aid or ideas anymore. African governments, civil society, entrepreneurs, they're really driving the agenda. Things like the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is trying to create this massive integrated market. That's huge for jobs, for trade.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Like a continent-wide trading bloc.
Exactly. And you see youth movements, youth activism, demanding better governance, demanding opportunities. They're not passive. They're actively shaping their future. There's a real sense of agency and optimism, especially among the young people themselves. They see the challenges, sure, but they also see the possibilities, and they're not waiting around. They're building. That's really inspiring to hear. So it's not just a top-down thing, it's also coming from the grassroots. Totally. It's a collective effort, and that's why I'm optimistic. It won't be easy, obviously, but the momentum and the will are definitely there.